Morbius will go down in history as that one movie that got Jared Leto shit from both DC and the Marvel fans. This movie is so bad that the only audience I can recommend it to is insomniacs, because it might actually help them go to sleep. My viewing was so silent that I'm pretty sure 90% of the audience was just actually sleeping, and that would be more enjoyable than watching Morbius. There is nothing that brings enjoyment to this movie. At least other shitty Sony villain movies are entertaining like movies. This movie is more like, if you hate yourself, you're gonna go see this movie. Or if someone dared you to go see this movie, you'll go see this movie. This is the most generic plot I've seen in a superhero movie ever. The villain is a kid that got bullied one time as a child, and then got the exact same powers as the hero, but, now this is the wacky part, he's evil this time. And then the hero is a guy who accidentally gains powers and decides to use them for good, and decides that his best friend and him both need to die because they're a danger to society. Except by the end of the movie, I guess he just changes his mind because he doesn't kill himself, because of course he needs to be around for an inevitable shitty Sinister Six movie. The director of this movie obviously didn't trust the audience with anything. They have to point out and explain everything to you. When Morbius first gets his powers, there's like a 5-minute monologue about the fact that he's not borderline paraplegic anymore. Like, yeah, no shit, we see you flying around your room. You do not need to explain the part that you're not paraplegic. They had to actually explain what echolocation is. They had to describe it as some sort of bat radar, because they can't even trust the audience with that. These characters are just awful as well, both in their portrayals and their individual characters. There's not a single actor here that feels like they are giving any amount of effort. They are all just there to get a paycheck, and because of that, you don't care for any of them. Like Morbius has his father figure and his love interest die within minutes of each other, so you'd expect some sort of like emotional reaction, but no. What he decides is the right appropriate reaction is to suck all of the blood out of them to get super sane and then go off and defeat the villain. Or when he first wakes up from vampire mode surrounded by dead bodies, the first thing he does is take off his shirt and look in the mirror and flex his pecs. They are all so fucking stupid. The police will have a manhunt going down for Morbius, and the detectives in the entire police station can't find him, even though he walks around the city most of the time face fully unveiled, just out in the open, people calling him by his name and all. This movie also feels like it just needs things to happen, so they do. They need the villain to get the same powers as Morbius, so what they make happen is Morbius, who has stated 30 times by this point that he doesn't want this vaccine to get out, have him make 2 extra vials, just in case, and then leave them completely out in the open so the villain and the love interest can turn themselves into Morbiuses. There are so many stupid ideas in this movie too, like the artificial blood. It loses efficiency on him and keeping him like normal, and it starts at like 6-hour effective range, but then 3 minutes later it moves down to 4 hours and 22 minutes. So you're like, shit, he needs to get a hurry on. This is going down fast. But then the rest of the movie, he keeps like alluding to it, but it stays at 4 hours and 22 minutes every time he talks about it. Jumping away from character and story, there's also a big problem with this vampire movie where they suck blood. There is no blood. They wanted this movie to be PG-13, but actually wanted it to be rated R. So just like Uncharted, you'll have people get their throats slit, and they'll be like a drop of blood that comes out, but they leave all the blood sound effects in, so it looks like some high school theater student pretending to die, and it looks stupid as shit. If you're gonna make a vampire movie, at least put in some good gore. The CGI and fight scenes in this movie are so god-awful too. You'd think with an extra 2 years that the CGI would be pretty good at least, but no. Anytime that people turn into like the Morbius vampire things, it looks like they applied a shitty Snapchat filter. It does not look good. And the fight scenes, oh my god, the fight scenes are so bad. There's only one major fight scene of the like Morbiuses fighting each other, and to cover up the shitty CGI, they decided, you know what? This is a vampire movie. Let's have Morbius pull out some fucking Shang-Chi moves and then Kamehameha some fucking bats at the villain. It's so stupid. And because of the shitty bat, like Dragon Ball fighting, they decided to just cover this up with more bats. Actually, let me recreate a Morbius fight scene in Photoshop. So here's Morbius, and here's evil Morbius. Now let's place one bat here. Let's place a second bat here. Let's place a third bet there, maybe a fourth, maybe a fifth bat, maybe a 10th bat, maybe a 42nd bat, maybe a 69th bat, 134th bat, 1000 bat, 1005 bats, maybe 1239 bat, 1456 bat, maybe 1500 bats. Yeah, there we go. That's a pretty good fight scene. Finally, those post-credit scenes. Most movies, like even Venom 2, was a fun movie, but it was still a bad movie. But the post-credit scene, you had to go just to see that post-credit scene. Yeah, well, in this movie, the director obviously did not understand or did not feel the need to make these post-credit scenes make sense. In No Way Home, those purple sky, like, butt cracks open up, and Strange says that they are dragging people into the MCU universe, right? Well, apparently not, because this movie decided, yeah, for some reason Vulture, and only Vulture, was dragged into the Venomverse. For some reason. I don't fucking know. And then the second one is just a shitty forced setup for a Sinister Six movie. And I mean, we've never seen that happen before, so I wonder how that'll turn out. Morbius is a film I can't even recommend to fans of the genre or universe go see. Just go on YouTube and watch some like plot breakdown, or just watch the trailer and you've pretty much seen everything this movie has to offer. Unlikable characters, poor performances, horrible CGI, generic ass formulaic story, and pretty much every other negative. Like, the only compliment I can give it is that trailers were okay and it's fun to make fun of afterwards, but this shit is getting like a 10 out of 100 on the SLOSH scale. I mean, fuck this movie.